I finally uncovered the secret to becoming that student in class who aces exams with minimal effort. You know, the one who seems to succeed effortlessly while you're breaking your back studying? It used to frustrate me endlessly. How can some people barely glance at their notes and still score perfect grades while you're working tirelessly just to scrape a B? That question lingered in my mind for ages, and I couldn't crack it until now. It turns out the issue isn't having a poor memory. It's about squandering your time inefficiently instead of using it wisely. In this video, I'll share the 7 straightforward strategies these high achievers use that most people completely overlook or don't even consider. The best part? No more marathon study sessions at home. You'll enter the classroom feeling confident, knowing you're already ahead of the game. Let's dive in. Number 7. Make every moment count. Studying doesn't have to mean torturing yourself by sitting at a desk for hours on end. You can make it way more efficient by managing your time smarter. While you're doing chores, walking, or working out, throw on a podcast, audiobook, or an audio lesson. Just like that, what used to be wasted time transforms into a chance to learn. Now, you're making every moment count. Stuck in traffic or waiting in a long line? Use that time to mentally review what you've studied. Replaying a tough concept or recalling key points in your head for just a few minutes can make a big impact. Make the most of your day and keep your brain engaged. You'll retain knowledge without the need for marathon cramming sessions. Number 6. Leverage mnemonics. Using mnemonics is like having a cheat code for school, but without anyone catching on. Seriously, creating acronyms, songs, or rhymes to memorize all that dull, complex material is one of the smartest ways to lighten your workload. Think it's just kid stuff? Think again. This so-called kid stuff could be your lifesaver during exams while you're struggling to cram like a fool. Your brain thrives on patterns, and when you turn something hard to remember into a catchy song or a quirky phrase, it sticks like glue. Need help coming up with mnemonics? Tools like ChatGPT can whip them up in seconds with the right prompt, saving you tons of time and energy. Number 5. Stick it in key places. Take those tough concepts, the ones you didn't grasp because you spent half of class scrolling on your phone, and jot them down on Post-its. Stick them in places you see constantly. The fridge, the bathroom mirror, or that door you walk through 20 times a day without a second thought. Each time you pass by, give them a quick glance. No pressure. Suddenly you're sneakily studying throughout the day without even opening that dusty textbook on your shelf. And if you're rolling your eyes thinking, this is silly, let's be honest. What's really silly is not giving it a shot. Oh, and not subscribing to the channel. Number 4, focus in class. Drop the notion that learning only happens when you're locked in your room, buried in books like a hermit. The real trick to cutting down study time is ridiculously simple. Pay attention in class. Genius. If something doesn't make sense, don't just sit there pretending you get it. Raise your hand and ask. Yes, just ask. It might feel awkward, but having the teacher clarify it now will save you from wasting hours later trying to figure it out on your own. Here's the twist. Not everything your teacher says is golden. That kid who barely studies yet scores top marks? They've mastered the art of filtering out the fluff. When the teacher veers off into some long-winded story about discovering their love for history while skydiving, come on, do you think that'll show up on the test? Focus on the critical points and tune out the distractions. Stick to this approach and you'll dodge those frantic all-nighter study sessions trying to piece it all together. Number 3, sketch your notes. Who said taking notes is just about writing everything down? If that's still your approach, you're wasting time like a fool. The smarter way to cement what you're learning without spending forever on it is to sketch your notes. Relax. You don't need to be an artist. Even those stick figures you mastered in kindergarten will work. The trick is to create simple visuals that connect ideas. Your brain loves images. Yes, even terrible ones. And you'll retain way more than if you're just jotting down words like you're drafting a to-do list. On top of that, this method keeps you from mindlessly copying whatever the teacher says. Drawing forces you to truly understand the material, since you have to break it down and represent it visually. By doing this, you're engaging different parts of your brain, building stronger connections, and giving yourself a much better shot at remembering what you've learned. Number 2, get proper sleep. First off, if you want to study less and still excel, stop dragging yourself to class half asleep like a zombie. It's straightforward. Get a proper night's sleep. Yeah, it might sound like old school advice from your grandma, but the quality of your sleep has a direct impact on how well you can focus and absorb information. And no, a quick snooze on your desk doesn't count. I'm talking about a full night's rest where you wake up naturally, not because your alarm is screaming at you. Without decent sleep, your brain switches to autopilot. You might be physically present in class, but mentally, you're off daydreaming in another galaxy. Spoiler alert, any hope of learning something disappears faster than your weekend workout plans. Let's be honest, there are endless distractions that sabotage your sleep schedule. Whether it's binge watching the latest series or falling down a YouTube rabbit hole about the history of ice cream because, clearly, that's going to help you ace your math test, these habits wreck your ability to focus. The fix is simple. Stick to a consistent bedtime and wake-up routine, even on weekends. Yeah, it's a drag, but it works. Research from the National Sleep Foundation and Harvard Medical School proves that a regular sleep schedule improves brain function and keeps you alert during the day, like you've unlocked your brain's maximum potential. Maintaining this rhythm also stabilizes your circadian clock, the internal timer you probably didn't know existed, helping you stay focused and absorb lessons in class like a pro. Number 1, try the brain dump technique. Here's a simple trick. Grab a piece of paper and jot down everything you remember about the topic. Just dump it all out like you're clearing mental clutter. This trains your brain to recall information when it matters, which, let's face it, you're probably not doing effectively right now. But here's the catch. There's a big difference between scribbling mindlessly like a machine and actually thinking through what you're writing. If you're just tossing random words onto the page, you're basically creating a pointless list that even your brain will ignore later. Instead, take a moment to process what you're dumping. Organize it a bit, connect the dots, and make sense of it as you write. This strengthens the associations in your mind, turning that chaotic mess into a clear mental map. The magic happens when your brain knows exactly where to find each piece of info. It's like giving everything a spot on a shelf, so it's easy to grab when you need it. Plus, brain dumps can really cut down on anxiety when you're overwhelmed. Writing it all down clears your mind and shows you exactly what to focus on next. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to share it with that friend who's just as desperate for these tips as you are. And drop a comment if you've got some secret hack for acing exams without stressing out. I'm betting you don't. But hey, you never know. I hope to catch you in the next video. If not, well, let's just say you've surprised me more than I thought.